What is up? Welcome to this week's episode of Lambgoat's Vanflip podcast. We're starting the year off great. Happy New Year to all the listeners and everybody around the world who tune in. All three of you, I appreciate it. We're going to kick off the 2026 year with none other than Dave Otero, famed metal producer, engineer, guy of all sorts of things, including just recently announcing his own festival. So now he's meandered into the not only producer, but he produces festivals now. So you're not a music producer, but you're a producer of all things. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, yeah. It was a no-brainer, obviously. You've done quite a few of the albums we post about and all of our listeners, including myself, listen to. So,
Sweet.
you know, it is what it is. And then, of course, now you're dabbling into the world of event production. So, you know, there's a lot to talk about. You have like 20 years, almost 20, like decades of production?
Yeah, we're somewhere in between 20 and 25. I can't even remember how old I am usually, so it's like close enough.
Same.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have to count back.
I'm in my 40s, so I agree. It's like it's not worth looking back sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, let's just start out with the festival because obviously everyone knows that you're a music producer. So I think the most interesting part about this particular podcast will be that festival. Granted, the Flatline Fest, I should have pulled it up, you know? That would have been probably fucking smart of me. But Flatline Fest, it's in Denver. Oh, man. Is it June?
It is June. June 13th and 14th.
I know a couple things off the top of my
Denver,
head.
Colorado.
You know
got it.
Yeah, and you got
it, man.
I try. You've got a couple, like I said, a couple bands that you've worked with in the past. Cattle Decapitation, Archspire, Aborted. I always screw up Allegion. That name.
Legion.
Legion, yeah.
That's good, though. Yeah, it could have been worse.
I've had them on the podcast, and he explained it to me, but here we are again. You know, it just goes in one ear, out the other. The live debut of the Nuclear Power Trio off Metal Blade, and then a whole list of other bands that, you know, I just can't read right now because they're all death metal logos. But
for sure.
Yeah, so let's get in. Like, how did this come about? I mean, obviously you have connections with all these bands, but that's not all you need, obviously, to start a music festival. So, like, how long was this taken, and what was the process like for you?
Yeah, so this year, and if we do continue to do this in the future, which is like kind of the goal now, but we'll just wait and see how it goes. Then it won't probably always be this, but this year anyway, every single band I've worked with in the studio, and that wasn't like a mandatory thing, but I was like, well, let's just see, and I'm booking it out, and then I was like, okay, it's going all right so far, and then even down to like the opening bands, and I even hesitate to call them local because they're like right. You know, A Feather and Bone has done plenty of touring, as have all the bands. I think it's just stacked from top to bottom. But at some point, like A Feather and Bone, I think I had to look back and I like recorded their first 7-inch in 2013. It's like not even on Spotify, so it's a small connection, but it is there. But yeah, it's been something that I kind of always thought would be fun. I have no experience until like the last few months with this type of thing, like promoting a live show, being a promoter, doing any kind of live event stuff, period. My fiance has some. She is a performer, like a live performer, and so she's done a fair amount of this, and she has a lot of skills and talents otherwise. Like, and we're like, you know, teaming up on this, co-promoters, if you will, which is I've discovered is mandatory to. This is impossible for one person to do this kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Which you know, I'm learning. But yeah, I've had this thought in my head for a long time. And actually, it'll just like to get right into what the real catalyst is. And this is not really like in the public sphere. But my fiance, I mentioned, we've been together for a long time, 12, 13 years. All of these bands, like especially the bigger bands that have done multiple albums with me, they come and they stay with me at the studio.
Okay. Nice.
I have like a separate, essentially band quarters, you know, but the studio it's all one old commercial building. The studio is one unit. My house is another unit. And then the band living quarters is a third unit. So they're not staying with me, like, you know, next to me in the next room, but they're under the same house, and we see each other every day, and we're hanging out in the evenings in the backyard, grilling food on the weekends. Like, some of these bands like Archspire and Cattle in particular have spent a year combined
Yeah.
living with me and living with my fiance. And they're all like my tightest friends, like all I really do is just like sit in my studio and work and then do other stuff. So I have like a handful of friends in Colorado that I can count on as like close friends. These are my friends and they're just spread out all across the world. And the interesting thing, and then maybe the psychotic thing on our end is the catalyst for the show is because our wedding is the night before.
Oh, so we get some free bands to play ahead of the day before for a private event.
It was really like, how do we get all of our best friends in town
cool.
and for sure available? They won't be on tour. They won't be, required elsewhere because we have paid them to be available to come to our wedding.
Yeah. Is that like a thing though? I mean, like, 'cause that seems like just like a added stress thing on top
motherfucker. You are not wrong. Like we kind of, both of us are a little psychotic like that. My fiance and I, and we brought up the idea. I was like, I've been thinking about this for a while. What if we combine these? I literally had this idea probably 6 months ago, and we started thinking about it. Oh, that could be really fun. We could get everyone here because, like, some of these guys would come, but it's like Aborted, half of them live overseas, like in Belgium and Iceland, and Archspire's from Canada. Like that, these are far places. It's difficult to like make those plans, and maybe a few of them would come, but we definitely couldn't get all of them.
Yeah.
But I have a way. I got an idea where we can make sure they have to come to our fucking wedding to celebrate with us. So that was kind of like the catalyst here. So yeah, everyone gets into town. Our wedding is Friday night and the fest is Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be hopefully not stressful. I'm trying to like pre-pack all the stress into these months and then have people to like shield us from the intense stress like for those events. And I'm hopefully we're successful in that, and then it's just fun and it's like all of our friends together just for like a wild ass event, So like this probably would have happened like eventually otherwise, but this was like that was the catalyst. That kind of like, okay, let's do it. Let's see if we can put this all together now.
Yeah, it's wild she agreed to it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and she it didn't take much convincing. She was a little more hesitant on like because at the same time these are all our friends, but this is their job,
Right.
This is like a fun side thing for me, but this is where they make their money. So it's not like, oh sure, yeah, we'll just do it. It's like this has to be a real business agreement. So I'm still going through agents and I have to learn how to be a promoter. Like I called another promoter I know. I was like, dude, I know I've met you like once or twice in the last like 5 years at festivals. Can I just call you and ask you like every stupid question I possibly could think of for an hour? Please, yeah. I beg of you. And he was really cool. And I'm leaning hard on like, honestly, most of the people in these bands, and I have good relationships with all these dudes. So it's not a conflict of interest. And it's not, there's no like, I've learned that in the live entertainment side, it's a little different than my side of the music industry that I've been in for 25 years. Like I deal on, it's like strictly the creative side. Like my contacts are bands and labels, 90%, and then 10% managers. But I try, like nothing against managers. I try to deal with that side as little as possible because I would prefer to work with labels and bands. And it's like, that way it's like, I feel like that's like the creative team,
Yeah.
And that's just how I think of things, and I work better. And I just, on all my business stuff, I try and be straight. Dipping into this like live entertainment side, especially another thing I'm learning, it's like you kind of got to earn your stripes or whatever in this arena.
Yep.
And here I am, some like jackass, and I'm like, I want these guys to come to my wedding, and they're like, fuck this guy. They just, I can tell they just want to delete the email and never think about it again.
Do you bring the wedding up, like when you're asking, like not bands, but like management or anything like that?
I did at first because I'm trying to honestly, at year one, this is probably a bigger event than someone might start as their first event.
Agreed.
And there's there's a significant financial investment that it takes. But that being said, all these bands are cool and they know what I'm trying to do and they get it. So I'm getting like some of that kind of friend discount, I feel like.
Good.
So that's kind of why I bring it up to the managers, because I sort of, and also like, or the agents rather. Also, I've talking to all the bands first, and I can only imagine as an agent that's really annoying because that's not how it works. I'm
Very.
like breaking protocol, but
Yeah.
like I know these guys, of course I'm going to ask them if this is something they'd be interested in. So I feel like there's a lot of things about this situation that agents are probably just annoyed with off the bat.
Well, if they're annoyed with you, they're fucking annoyed with me for sure. I also dislike dealing with people outside of the band and or label because mostly for the podcast vibe things. Because like I'd like to just talk to whomever, whenever, right?
Yeah.
But if you go through like an agent or a PR or a management, they're like, well, they don't have anything going on right now, so there's nothing to really promote. And it's like, I don't care. We just want to talk. Like I'm not even.
Yeah.
And most times when I have someone on, we're not even talking about like the album that's like we'll mention it for 5 minutes and I'm like, I'm moving on. You know what I mean? We'll get into the meat and potatoes of everything. But it's kind of a bummer because like you do want it to be more of like a free flowing vibe thing and not just you're doing press for like the day. And so I'm just one of many, if not the last one, because I do an hour and it's like later in the evening.
And you're just getting this. You're probably getting the same answer. Like, there's no way. Like, if you're doing 8 interviews in one day, there's zero chance that you can give like honest, real, genuine answers unless you just like pull them into some really cool conversation and they get into. Like it's just going to become canned. Like even if they don't want it to be,
right?
Like, it just will.
That's why I tell everybody beforehand. Like I told you, it's about any and everything. I'll follow you wherever. We could talk about whatever. And I mean, there's definitely been podcasts that have just been like completely derailed off topic of like we'll spend 40 minutes talking about aliens or whatever subject, and next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, that hour went by fucking quick. All right, well, new album's out, I guess. So see you later. But so I share that sentiment about dealing with people in the industry, certain people in the industry. But I will say that like you said, reaching out to people and leaning on them. When I took over Lambgoat, which was like in 22 from Alex, luckily I had kind of been with Lambgoat and I was doing the podcast for a couple of years before that, and I kind of had a few people in my back pocket that I've relied on over the years. So it's been very helpful too. Also, but I can't do that too much because I can't show like if something happens, I can't be like preferential treatment.
Yeah. I get that too, and I'm learning. And while I've already come into a few situations where I was like, oh shit, this is the thing I should have communicated. I'm like, absolutely, like issues have come up that if everything were totally on the normal like promoted agent level, probably wouldn't have. You know what I mean? So I'm learning the reasoning for some of this stuff, why some of these guys are so particular about the details, and why the communication has to be so extreme. Like I've never sent more emails in a 2-week span than this week in my entire life. It's very different from the studio stuff, man. Like I'm used to, it's chill. Like I have a couple of emails back and forth with a label or a manager on just getting the business stuff taken care of, and then I send a single invoice out, and then like the next 2 months I'm just dealing with the band, and maybe I check in once or twice. Like it's just like there's very little communication. It's different obviously if I'm working with a remote client or if I'm just mixing a record and guys are across the world. Of course you got to get emails and you got to get like text threads and shared documents and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But that's still just like creative communication, talking about mixed notes like, hey, turn me up, turn this down, add a delay throw type of shit. It's just like, it's wildly different here, like I'm on, there's just like an email thread with like 40 people on it or something like that I like talk to these people I don't even know. I'm like, this motherfucker's, is he even alive? He hasn't said anything in this thread, They
just want to look at it eventually, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And someone chimes in here and you just got to, it's a lot of juggling. I'm not used to that. I guess for the last 25 or whatever years, it's like I kind of have what I'm working on right in front of me and I can see it. And for this, it's not like that. It's like shit's all around you and you got to keep track of it all at the same time. So I've had to like up my organization and
become an adult.
And juggling that while I'm trying to do studio shit's been madness. Like I'm so thankful for this. I typically like lighten up my studio workflow around the holidays and the new year. Like no one wants to be out here recording an album, so it's typically a slower time for all studios.
Is Denver cold or something? Is it like not ideal weather out there in Denver?
No, I mean it's fine. It doesn't really. It's like more like people just want to be home with their families. They either want to get an album that goes all the way up until the holidays, and we wrap up like early December, or they want to start in January.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to have something that's like going over this period. Everyone wants to be back at home, so that's fine. Or sometimes I'll have a local project booked, or I'll have a mixed project booked that I can just do, and I have some of that. Like I would literally. The ticket sales went live this morning at 10 a.m. and then I came over here and had to like work on a mastering project for like 2 hours, and then now I'm talking to you. So I'm still like squeezing some stuff in, but because I typically lighten it up, I can kind of chill, and like every single second of that has been taken up with fest stuff because I sort of just like underestimated exactly how much work this was.
Yeah.
And on top of that, this is like a curse of mine, and probably my fiance says the same thing. We just have trouble like half-assing stuff, and then we're like, it would be different if we were like, hey, let's throw a show. That's like you get a flyer made, the venue does most of the promotion, you hook up some bands, and maybe even like the venue will handle the negotiations. But we're like, if we're going to put the work in, and I'm going to put like my name sort of essentially tied to it, let's like build it up like a business that could be a thing. If we decide to keep doing it, we build the scaffolding up from the ground the right way. So it's like that's making social media accounts, that's trying to like gain a connection, building the web page, like building branding, all this stuff that I've never really done. Like, man, I still don't have a website for my studio.
Really?
You know, I have a URL, and it's been like forwarding to my Facebook page for a year just because I'm a lazy piece of shit, and it hasn't really been necessary. But the fest page I built myself in like a week and a half, spending just like hours on it every day because like it had to be done. It's more required, you know, for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, building web pages is kind of fun, and I'll build one for the studio. So,
but you may not need one. You haven't. Did you ever have like a basic website for the?
Yeah, along. At one point, I did like back, like right when MySpace was sunsetting, and I remember this because this is like, who talks about MySpace anymore? But
I bring it up quite often. So yeah,
a guy I hired to make it, built it like a MySpace page, and he's like, this is a new thing. It's like a one page. It's like, it's not a bunch of links that go to a separate page. It's like everything's on one page, and it was pretty sick. That guy did a good job, and it was like my own little MySpace. Like when MySpace was dying, I don't think I ever had a MySpace page. I was too punk rock back in the day for that. But then that, like, you know, that shit just like feels old in the tooth after a while. So I took it down, and then I was like, I guess I'll just like point it to the Facebook for now.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. Obviously, I'm not. But you know, if it's not broke, you don't have to really fix it. And it wasn't like you're hard up for anything.
Who knows though, man? You never know. Like what could have been different.
True.
If only someone could have found my webpage, and they're like, fuck it. Guess we'll go to Mark Lewis instead.
Yeah. This website doesn't even work. What the hell? This guy's might be out of business. Had you ever put a show, like, because you were mentioning, like, have you ever done shows or anything like that? No. So they're like, it's just right to the big show.
I've been in bands back in the day, you know,
right.
and did some touring and stuff like that, but like
that's completely different.
Yeah, and never anything close to this. Never promoted. I've had a lot of conversations with bands, but I mean, like this week, I've learned a lot more about all sides of this, about where communication is important, and then to look at things from the band perspective. Like this is just a thing that was difficult in my particular situation for a few reasons. Why booking this was particularly difficult. One of my like internal guiding factors was like, I'm trying to get my best friends out for the wedding. So like those are the bands I'm looking for. Two, I was like, well, maybe it can be all bands I've worked with. And then the closer I got to that, I was like, okay, well let's try and make that happen. I'm like, I spend every day in the studio. I got to have a huge laundry list of bands I can pick from. And then I like look, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's like 15 bands or
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
like are really active and that could do it. So like every other festival promoter can choose from any fucking band that exists, and I have like I can fit them all in my hand, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. But the good
And
thing
then
is, like,
within
if it does work out though, and like people will want to play it, and it'll be
yeah,
way easier to
it will
source the
be.
bands. Yeah.
And then I think beyond this year, it's like it still has the name of the studio. I would still want to keep it focused around like the bands that I've worked with, or at least like in some fashion. But it won't. It'd be impossible because I already like I used them all. I
Right.
used most of them all up.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, you're basically turning Flatline audio or Flatline into a
yeah,
brand. So
yeah,
then you
yeah,
could do whatever. Like that's kind of like, I mean, we think about it that way too. Whereas like
yeah,
we are embedded in the hardcore and metal and heavy aggressive music world,
yep,
but like we could also do other things. And the name Lambgoat is just like what? Like no one knows. It's like no one knows what that is. If you're a
yeah,
regular day person, you're like, what is that?
yeah,
So we think about doing some weird things like that. Like
yeah,
I'd love to do a festival, because we had Welcome to Rockville for years here in Jacksonville, which then got
yeah,
too big and then moved to Daytona. So I was like, well, shit, if we could do like something. But then like I'm like, what do? Do you just do like a show and maybe grow from that, or do you do like a 2-day festival at a venue or something like that,
yeah,
or do you do it outside?
yeah,
But it's like that's like a way heavier lift than what I'd probably want to do. But like we've been sponsoring festivals, which has been fun the last couple of years. So we've dabbled into that, which has been cool, and it also re-engages a lot of like users that maybe haven't been back to Lambgoat in 5, 10, 15 years because we've been
yeah,
around so long. People might have
yeah,
like just forgotten
yeah,
or something like
yeah.
that.
Forgotten.
And
Yeah, yeah,
we've definitely seen that. Like we've definitely seen a lot of people come back, and Lambgoat's kind of like we had our best year last year. So
awesome.
like over 4 million people to the site throughout
Wow.
the year are uniques throughout the year. So it's crazy. That was almost double the year before. But we're thinking about doing a bunch of stuff. Like you had bands staying with you when they record. We're looking at a building. That's why my office is complete shit, which I can only see. My little view is like right here, right there.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
know that now when I upload this, it's going to have all of this,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's going to look like I live in a trash heap, which I do currently right now. I do currently live in a trash heap, but it is what it is. But yeah, we've been thinking about getting a building, and I'd like to have a spot where like we could do Lambgoat stuff, the podcast in person, full time.
Yeah.
Have bands stay with us if they need a spot to stay when they come through here, that kind of thing. Cook meals for the bands, because I like
Yeah.
to cook, and that might be
Yeah,
that
man.
might be content. Content, you never know. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too, man. The cooking thing is like I go kind of up and down. I jump in and out of hobbies. Like this is like
you
sort
too,
of
huh?
this is sort of like an example of that. This is like maybe a hobby right now, but like I did fucking YouTube like hard as fuck for a year and then got burnt out and stopped. Like, and so cooking is definitely one of those. Like I was just like a madman about cooking and culinary shit for a few years, and then now I just hold on to some of those skills, so I'm not a total slouch, but it's
Right.
like not like it was.
I
But
can
I
cut a
love like
tomato and an onion. I could do that
yeah,
for sure. I'm not making any roux or nothing like that, but
almost every band has one dude who's like a badass cook. This is like a thing. Maybe it's because like a good job to have when you need to be flexible with touring and stuff like that is in kitchens. But almost every band has a dude who's like a master in the kitchen. So that's I always love to get that going when I have bands here. We'll do like every couple of weeks, we'll plan a weekend day where we're not working, where like a big old cookout, like they're cooking stuff back in the band apartment and I'm cooking stuff, and we'll have beers and hang out in the backyard, and it's a good time.
who are the chefs in like Art Spire and Cattle Decap? So just because of the headliners, and you said every band seemingly has
Yeah,
one.
our spot for sure, Ollie. Like Ollie is a madman. I mean, I don't know if you saw their new the video they just released for their single, but
Yep.
it starts with him in a kitchen, and it's like not that far off. Like he lived in kitchens his whole life. Actually, a lot of that band is, yeah, not just Ollie. Toby's, they're all good, but Toby and Ollie would probably be the ones I would think of first. In Cattle, I would say probably Dave, or Ollie, like the bass player who's now no longer in the band, but he's done the last 2 albums. He also is a badass cook. So it would be Dave the drummer or Ollie the previous bass player. But yeah, everyone's got one.
Yep. What are some other hobbies that you kind of got into and just throw away after after a year or so?
Dude, there's like too many to list. I just bought, like, I had motorcycles when I was younger. Last year, I bought like a dual purpose, like, adventure bike style thing. I've wanted a dirt bike since I was like 8 years old. I remember being like so mad at my mom because I was like just frustrated she wouldn't buy me a dirt bike. What a piece of shit little kid, you know.
Right.
But
did you grow up in Denver? Did you grow up out there?
I've been here since I was like 14. I grew up in Houston, actually, and then moved here like right at the beginning of high school. So like,
Houston's not ideal for dirt biking, but I would assume Denver area is fucking way ideal.
yeah. There's a lot of like adventure riding up here. And I'm old now, and I may or may not have health insurance at any point in time. So I'm not trying to like, I'm not trying to do flips or nothing like that. I just like, hey, this would be cool. I like mountain shit a lot. I'm from Colorado. They kick you out here if you don't enjoy like hiking, you know. So
I would assume
I do like a hiking and camping, and this was like an idea to like put that on a motorcycle, do like moto camping. So that's one of my current hobbies. Cooking was one. The photography, videography was another. Like go back and like, you know, if someone's watching, like go find my YouTube channel. I think I still have like 10,000 subscribers, but it's all from less than a year.
Is it a production stuff, or is it just like whatever is outside of the studio?
No, it's all production stuff. Like, the kind of thing that kicked me off in that is I started working with this company called URM, and they have a product called Nail the Mix, and it's like,
I was gonna ask you about that.
You're familiar with that, yeah? So I was like, oh, this is kind of. I was like a little hesitant when AL first reached out to me to do it like forever ago, and then I did one, and I was like, whoa, this is really fun to talk about this stuff. And I was getting questions all the time from, like, I say younger people, but they're people of all ages, people trying to learn this craft, you know, like heavy music production. I was getting all these questions, and it was like really like rewarding to just like talk to these people and help them, and people see people like, man, that was so cool. I learned so much. That was incredible. Like, as a guy that like works on creative stuff nonstop, but never really has like that direct connection with any of the fans, you know, I'm like one step removed. It's like I spend 2 months in the studio with a band, and we're all putting everything we have into a record, and then they go out and they release the record and they perform the record every night. So they're getting the other side of that coin every night. They're feeling the energy back. I never really like have any sort of direct connection. So it's like, even when I go see bands, like Cattle just came through on this previous tour, playing Death Atlas from beginning to end, because that tour cycle just got demolished because COVID. It came out like right at COVID. They never really got the tour on Death Atlas. A lot of those guys like still think of that as their, you know, magnum opus or whatever, or like what the one album they feel like summed up the band or they're most happy with. And they never got to do it justice, so they're coming back around now. The tour was amazing, and then like watching it, I was telling Josh after the show, it's like crazy emotional for me, because I finally like get to see it in the flesh. Like, I've heard the songs a million, and I can read reviews, and I know people love it, and people tell me all this stuff, but like to see it being performed and to see like everyone around me just losing their minds, you know, and like it's different for every band too. I remember Chemist is another band I work with. Very different style, you know. And it was maybe like 5 years ago, they did one of the Decibel tours, and the headliner was Enslaved, and I'm a huge Enslaved fan. I have been for a long time. Love that band. So I convinced them to let me tag along on the tour for a week. I met them. I did the fun part. I met them in Vancouver, and then I did the last week of the tour, ended in LA. So it was like all down the West Coast.
Tight.
And I helped, you know, I was like selling shirts and shit like that, like to like kind of like pay, you know, like hold my own.
Were people like, whoa, what the fuck?
Every once in a while, I'll be like, what? Dave Otero? This was like 5 or 6 years ago.
It's like, yeah, do you want a shirt? Tip jar's right here, bro.
Yeah. But I remember this, like, I remember one particular experience, like playing. I don't remember the name of the venue. I think in Seattle, and they're playing their song, and they have particularly emotional songs, and they have clean vocals, and sometimes clean vocals can just reach into someone's soul a little bit more. There's just a little extra you can get.
I'm not a hater.
That.
I'm not a hater of the cleans, dude.
Yeah.
I like a mix.
And Kim has write some beautifully sorrowful melodies that are meant to fucking tug at that shit, And I'm just standing there, and no one really knows. It's kind of a small venue, and I just see two people who like obviously a couple, and their arms around each other, and they're playing this song, and they just are like crying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like fucking amazing. I had never. There's like not any point in my typical workflow do I get any kind of feedback like that. Like,
yeah, you're just
like,
in the
I
room
mean,
with
I've had some emotional periods in the studio, so I guess that's close. But it's still like you're not seeing art that you put a lot into, a lot of yourself into, like affecting people like in the flesh.
Yeah, the atmosphere also helps.
Yeah,
like the different type of atmosphere, the live venue setting and stuff like that. It's a little different. I definitely can agree with that.
And this, like, dude, the fest, because it's all these bands, and they're all tied, and it's like tied to this personal event, that's going to be the night before.
You're going to cry all weekend, Dave. You and your fiance.
I'm just going to. I literally might not live through this fucking weekend. I'll
It'll be
be
rough.
such a broken piece of shit by the end. But
I've gotten emotional at shows recently in the last 5 years. I mean, I don't know if it's because like some of the bands like I either like came back and I never thought I'd see them again, and like I was a big fan of it or something like that. But there's been a handful. I'm not gonna really like go down the list or anything like that. But there's been a handful. I'm like, shit, like Furnace Fest was one or two of those every year, and these other big festivals. I'm like, well, Welcome to Rockville last year was a weird one because I was a nu metal kid, and I've talked about it endlessly on this podcast, so I won't. But I saw, I've started seeing like some of these bands that I never saw. Like Orgy was was one of those bands, and I was like, oh, this is cool, but it's only 5 songs, they have a 20-minute set or something like that, and I'm like, damn. So yeah, I didn't get emotional at Orgy. Don't worry about that. But it was just a cool moment. But
yeah, you should clip that for YouTube. I didn't get emotional at Orgy.
I get emotional at orgies, but not at the show. Yeah, it's different vibes. But yeah, I mean, I also go down YouTube rabbit holes and it's funny you talk about like hiking and camping, and like I got into that specifically out of YouTube. I got like, I'm from Florida, North Florida, and there's not like a lot of typography. There's not a lot of like ranges here. It's just the beach, and like I love the way Florida looks. I love like our wildlife and ecosystem and stuff. But I got like obsessed with the Appalachian Trail for like a year and a half, dude. So, like,
we probably watched some of the fucking same channels because I got into that shit too. It's honestly peaceful shit to just fucking fall into, like the hiking. Like my deep fall, which again, that's like everything. Like I hit hard and then it sort of fades away. But like the bushcraft wild camping thing that I fell into came because I've always liked camping. So I was actually camping with my kid. We were going out to some park I can't remember now, and we stayed at a campsite that we reserved. And I remember getting there, and it was kind of trashed. And I was annoyed. I'm that guy that's like,
I can feel that.
Fucking pick up your trash when you go camping, you motherfucker. Like, we gotta protect this.
Especially in Denver or in Colorado, you would think, maybe not have been in Colorado, but you would think there's enough hippy-dippy vibes out there to where they would pick that shit up.
It usually is, yeah. We were not in Colorado, but still. Like, most people are pretty good. So I was kind of annoyed. So I'm cleaning up the campsite. And then later that night, I find a knife on the ground, like a folding knife. And I was like, whoa, this actually looks like a really nice knife. I didn't know anything about knives, and there was no service. I was kind of curious. I was like, this seems like a really nice knife. And then we leave the next day and we get into service, and I look it up, and it's like a $300 Benchmade knife.
Yep.
And I didn't feel an ounce of regret of that knife becoming mine now.
No, you worked for it.
Yeah, I was fairly certain that I was like, well, these assholes that left beer cans and trash everywhere probably left their knife because they're hammered and irresponsible. So
win-win.
And I looked it up, and I was like, and I ran across some YouTube channel talking about knives, and then I was like, I'm a boy, I like knives.
Here's what you can do with it. You can skin this. You can cut
You can
that.
do all kinds of shit with a
whittle
knife. Yeah.
this.
So like then that. So now I probably got one. Yeah, I got one on my pocket right now that I only use to open boxes. But then I fell into this, and I started learning about like all this like wild camping shit, and I was like, whoa, this rules. And then I started doing like solo trips, and I was like, this is amazing for my brain. Like
I've never done a solo, but just because it's hiking, I've done solo hiking, but I've never done like a solo overnight.
Yeah.
Not that I'm scared to.
It's uncomfortable.
I would assume,
which is actually really nice. Like my now fiance, she is like, well, if you're gonna go like real deep and you're gonna be gone for like, and then you have to have a satellite GPS.
Right.
So I have a little small Garmin thing, so I can text her, hey, I'm good, and it sends her a location when I get somewhere. And I haven't done too many of these, man, because it's just hard. Like I just work a lot. It's hard to find the time. But yeah, I've done a few of them, and you hike in deep where you are like away from people and you're out of cell service, and it's very uncomfortable. It makes you feel very uncomfortable, but then it's also like really awesome feeling at the same time.
I would assume so. Like afterwards, it's probably like amazing, but like at night, you're like, what the fuck was that? What is that?
Yeah, I fucking the first time I did this, I went out for 2 nights, and I was like off of a trail. I was probably I hiked in on a trail, and then I was in national forest land, so you can kind of camp anywhere within certain parameters. Mm-hmm. And I hiked. I had I'm all like have maps and shit like that. I have that all teched out. Done a lot of research. And I hiked maybe about half a mile off the trail, and I found a water source, and I've got ways to filter water and backup tablets. And I'm just gonna be there for 2 days. A whole hammock set up. I got an axe to process wood. Like I'm going to be a fucking goddamn woodsman, if my life depends on it. And I'm out there one night, and I hear. So okay, two parts of this story. I hear some noise coming from somewhere, and I'm like way off a trail, and then all of a sudden, this like middle-aged Scandinavian woman emerges.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And I'm like, hello? And she was lost. She had because I'm half a mile off a trail, and the trail gets real tough to follow because I'm 10 miles in from the trailhead, So she had lost the trail, and I happen to have a map, and she was just out there fucking balls to the wall. Yeah. She's just like, I'm just hiking. So she's like, do you know where the trail is? And I show her where we are because I got it all pinned out. And then I send her on her way. And that's it.
Yeah.
She kept going. I was like, do you want to go back? I would assume you want to go back. You're lost in the woods right now, 10 miles away from a road.
See you later.
She wanted to keep going. So then I was like, man, that's crazy. I can't believe I saw someone out here. 2 hours later, I hear some more rustling. I'm like, what the fuck? And I turn around, and it is a fucking full-grown moose that, the width of its rack is how tall I am.
I'd rather see a bear. I'd rather want to see a bear than a moose. And
luckily, but because I'm hammock camping, I'm kind of in this cluster of trees. And I was like, this guy, he probably can't even get in here. The trees are too tight. And he didn't see me, and my phone's all the way off. And I'm like, I see him, and I freeze, and I'm trying to get my phone out and turn it on so I can get a photo so someone believes me. And then he meanders away. But then this is just as the sun's setting, and I got to fucking go to bed and sleep in what is a perfect burrito for any kind of wild animal.
Yeah.
And all I have is a small, a packable axe. So
you that night
was a little sketchy, but it's that was fine. No one bothered me. But
they don't make you carry bear spray or any kind of thing when you're out there by yourself?
Not here. I probably should have.
Yeah.
I still don't, honestly. So if Flatline Fest, for some reason you don't see the announcement one year, it may be because
he's a grizzly man.
A moose gored me to death.
Yeah.
No one knows.
I've only seen a moose in captivity in Canada.
Yeah.
And that was and we were on I don't know, this 10-foot plank. You walk out on this 10-foot plank, and you're looking down on all these bigger creatures. And like, yeah, the moose was like so fucking huge. I was like, and again, like then you research them and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're bad as shit and they hate
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, they can really fuck you up. So I'd much rather run into like a black bear that's not going to really fuck with me, or
We luckily don't really have too many grizzlies out here. They're mostly black bears,
Yeah.
which are more not as much of a problem usually. The moose was terrifying.
I would bet.
Like to see it up close and to realize like, oh, no one's around except for that Swedish lady or whatever. She's probably long gone. She's not gonna help me. Well, maybe she would. I helped her, but it was crazy, and it makes you realize like, oh damn, like I don't know. There's something kind of nice about it at the same time because like this is the world that we're just so sheltered from. Not to get too weird about it, but it's like
that's
the lives we live as a civilized humans is just so far from what our bodies were made for and what the world was like kind of not made for. I'm not a creationist, not made for it. Didn't mean to say that.
Right. Well, you know what we're talking about. But the one of the wildest things that really dawned on me while I was like hiking and doing things, like, because I did eventually go out and do parts of the Appalachian Trail and stuff like that.
Yep. Sick.
So there was this part, Chiowa Bald is in North Carolina, and that was like one of the parts that I would watch on these like through hikes or like vlog hikes. That was always a part that was like really cool looking to me, and it just also happened to be like the second or third highest peak on the entire trail. And it's not that far up. It's only like 5,100 feet or something like that. But turns out like a girlfriend of mine at the time, like a decade ago or whatever, her dad had a house in Murphy, North Carolina, which was not far from that place. So we ended up spending a couple of days and camping that. But the thing that I realized immediately was like, oh shit, you could just like die out here. Like you could just fall and die. Like, there's no guide, there's no like railings on some of these things, and it's just like steep drop offs. And it's like, if you wanted to, you could just jump off of a lookout and no one would know. You know what I mean? And it's like, then I think about that's how it used to be, before like society became like metropolitan areas and cities and stuff like that.
Yeah. And this little like that experience and my experience, like that we feel like so exposed. It's like 1% of what it would have been like at almost any other point in history. You know, I still have an axe and all this gear and a satellite communicator and a cell phone, and like it's just so like the world has changed so fast, so quickly. In the last few thousand years, and even more so the last couple hundred years. It's crazy to imagine living a life like that. Not saying I would like to, but I'm saying that there are some parts of that we have lost as modern humans that I think are maybe our like brain chemistry quite hasn't caught up to.
I agree.
And that when you connect with a little bit of that, something, it can kind of fix a little bit of something that is like, I would encourage people, if they have any kind of inclination to dive into this world and they're not, and they never have, like dive onto YouTube. It's a great place to like start learning, find some like some hikers or some bushcraft or some like outdoorsy stuff, and just try it out and see how you feel afterwards. I mean, even just going for a day hike, man, totally changes my mindset. I can be like, that's kind of one of my tricks now. If I wake up and I'm just like in a shitty mood or being a piece of shit, go for a hike. Like every day for the last few years, and I'm going to do it until I can no longer do it anymore. On my birthday, I go for a solo hike.
Oh, tight.
I get up, I'll have breakfast or something with my family, and then I go out and I just spend the majority of my birthday like in the mountains by myself. And I just feel great. It's like gives you a chance to like separate, think. I'm kind of like when I'm at home, I have trouble like not occupying myself at all times. Like if I'm making food or if I'm grocery shopping or if I'm doing any kind of task, I'm gonna have one earbud in with a podcast or something. I'm just like I can't like I have trouble like just like sitting still with idle time. I need to like fill it with stuff. And you just kind of, you just can't as much in the mountains or whatever when you step away. And it feels like to be forced to do that. It's pretty nice.
So how long have you known that you've had ADHD or ADD?
Yeah, I have I don't know, I got some weird cocktail shit that
I do too. That's why I asked. I mean, all these things are the same. Like I can't, if I'm here and it's tough to like cut this whole, like when you own a business, it's tough to turn that part off. Yeah. And no one tells you that when you're like slaving away at an hourly job, and you're like, oh, if I could be the boss man, it's just fucking kick back. No, that guy's thinking about it all the time, and it's a bummer, But
yeah, there's some type of neurodivergence going on. Like my fiance has got similar stuff, and I've become more aware of some of this stuff, like particularly like elements of like autism and ADHD that I'm starting to learn to like pick up on, and I'm like, oh, literally every motherfucker that I interact with on a daily basis, like if you're in a tech death band, you're like you got a little bit of autism. Sorry.
Yeah.
If that's tricky for you to hear, but like you just do, like it's in there somewhere.
You got touched.
No normal people don't do that. Don't hyperfixate on shredding or like whatever you've done to get to where you are in your music career. That's not normal, or it's not average, I guess.
It would be mainstream if everyone was doing it, or if everyone was into it. And like that's the thing. It's even the aggressive underground, or not underground, but the aggressive side of music is just so much more. It's like beer, and it is an acquired taste, and you have to fucking get through some of it to really enjoy it. And then even then, like you could like some of this stuff and not like a whole mess of this stuff over here. So yeah, but the ADHD thing is fucking hilarious, or the spectrum stuff is all funny because now I was diagnosed as a kid, so I've always kind of had it, and I've always known I've had it, but I just felt normal. But now that there's so much more information coming out about it, now I can reflect back and go like, oh, that's why I fucking hated that when I was like 10 or in high school, or oh, that's why I sucked at college. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Like, I mean, whatever elements of that are in me, I view as superpowers to some degree, like they give me this insatiable drive. Like, unfortunately, it's hard to maintain. Like, you mentioned beer a second ago. I was like, oh yeah, that's another hobby. Like, I had a fucking full grain brewing system, and like was like literally considering stopping this spring, maybe 10 years ago, stopping the studio to open a brewery, because that's another crazy Colorado thing too. Like,
right.
That like was probably pretty close to happening. Like, I thought about beer like day in, day out, making recipes. I had an insane amount of gear. I still have a lot of it. My fiance's like, you haven't brewed a beer in like 5 years. Please, we have a small house. Get rid of this shit. Like,
but maybe.
One day. But I mean, that like led to all kinds of other bits. Like a lot of people in the metal community now know about True Brewing, which is like a sadly very recently defunct brewery here in Colorado that kind of like was an absolute hallmark of mine. It's like devastating to even think about it being gone now. But they were one of the first breweries. Like, there've always been breweries that were like kind of metal, but they like were 100% metal. All the branding, the tap room is nothing but like underground death metal. Like, they were unapologetically metal. And the owner and proprietor, Nick Nuns, I met at a home brew club before True existed. And this is like how nerdy I was into beer. I was in a fucking homebrewing club, and he was
like you just show up somewhere? You just show up to someone's house and be like, this is what I'm making in my bathroom.
We had meetings. Yeah, we had like a couple of buddies. I still like sort of another friend of mine, Chris, who was one of the main guys who started it, still around. He was part of a brewery for a while. And Nick was like, yeah, I'm going to start a metal brewery. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. I was like, I've heard that shit before, And then he did, and then True like blew up, and
weren't they doing stuff with the Decibel shows out there?
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were like the main sponsor here.
Yeah, because that's where I saw it all the time. Yeah.
But they expanded to Asheville, and that's one of the things that unfortunately spelled the end of them is they moved to Asheville, and the hurricane just like demolished that city.
Oh yeah.
It was really tricky timing for them because they were just like getting going. But yeah, that's a whole nother thing, a whole nother realm of people that I ran into and hobbies that I had, and that are probably all autistic to some degree.
No, it's funny because I'm sitting here and I interview a lot of bands, right? Like most of the bands you've recorded, I've probably had on the podcast. Cattle, Decap, Aborted, Archspire. I don't think I've had on, but many of the other.
Should.
Yeah, I know they seem like funny fun
Dude,
guys.
they're
Yeah,
the fucking most hilarious dudes. Yeah.
but some people,
All my bands are funny. Don't no one get mad. All my bands are the funniest bands.
not all of them can cook, but they might be all funny. Yeah, there's some bands that I have on that I'm all like, dude, this guy is fucking full on like ADHD, and it's funny because like I had I'm really into this Scandinavian band Leprous.
Oh, dude. I almost pulled my leper shirt out to wear it today. I fucking love that band.
Yeah. I really got into them last handful of years, and I had Bard on the fucking podcast very recently. Which I had him on like a year before, but his phone died and all this other shit happened, and we never linked back up. So we had been corresponding for over a year, and finally I got him back on. But we had just gotten into the point where I was like, dude, are you like ADHD or something like that? Because he's all over. Like, you know, as a person, he's all over. And he was like, weird you said that. I just was diagnosed. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, I could tell.
Like, if we did that podcast last year, you would have been diagnosed.
No, he was diagnosed. No, he was diagnosed then. And then I was like, I have to wait now. Because, you know, I was like, dude, we're just getting into it. Because I was like, I just got my diagnosis, and it explains so much. Yeah. But he's a crazy drummer, too. So that also might explain why he's like the way he is, drum style.
He is a just absolutely wild drummer. I remember, like, I've been a Leopard fan for a long time, and the drums are one of the points that really drew me in. He is unbelievable and so creative and so tight and has so much groove. There's like, he did a few of these playthroughs, and there's one in particular where he drops his stick in the middle of it, and he keeps going, or maybe he breaks a stick, and he just keeps going. It's like it's like only better because he drops a stick, and then like out of nowhere, like an arm pops into the side of the frame, hands another stick, and he just fucking slays it. And I was like, that's so sick. They kept that one because it was an incredible performance. Like,
I think I definitely seen that. Is that The Sky Is Red, or is that a different one?
I have no idea.
The Sky Is Red has the other guy come in and play the toms. Whilst he's doing some other shit, like some other quad beat on
that. I think it's from that same like recording. It's that same setup or whatever.
Yeah, The Sky Is Red is the one that like that popped me. I mean, I saw that the playthrough, and I was like, dude. And then the breakdown at the end, or the breakdown part at the end, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I just kind of like I said, I like cleans, and that dude can sing, dude. Like, he can sing.
He's got it's like, for some people, a bit of an acquired taste because he's got a unique tone. But like, when you get it, it's like, it's kind of a little bit of the same thing for Ghost to me, which is kind of like, it's like the acquired taste somehow that's actually like that's another superpower in music. Yeah. Because you stand out, you know? It's
for sure.
Like, it's really hard to be good at music. It's really hard to be unique in music. And if you can do both of those, that's like a 1 in a million kind of talent that you have. It's so fucking hard to be unique and good.
Yeah.
And both of those guys, like, even just their style and their tone are both of those. And it's like, becomes insatiable. Yeah, like both Chelsea and I are big Lepers fans, and pretty much every time they come through, we go check them out.
I have yet to see them live, although
my god, dude, it's so fucking good.
They don't come here; they go to like Orlando, and it's usually like when something else is going on, or I'm away for a festival or something like that, which is a bummer because they were coming around and they played their last album in full, which was dope, and I wanted to hear that too. But God, I got into so many of those types of bands, like the later stage Catatonia and.
Dude, I like all.
Yeah.
We have some. I think we have some similarities there. Yeah, Catatonia is another one where I just see him every time. Yeah, I'm a little. The lineup has changed a bit for the last like 1 or 2 albums, and I'm a little bummed because they had a spot where I was like really stoked on everyone's contributions, you know. But I've seen him a few times as some of these things have cycled through, and they always kill it. We kind of, what's the singer, Anders, I think is, Johan, I believe is his name.
You're going to know before I do. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he does this, we call it, my fiance and I he does like we call it the little kick. And it's like the rock kick, but it's just like a little small one.
He's a little
like
old.
His stage move. It's really cute.
He's aged a little bit, so he's allowed to do all that. He might not have as mobility.
It's like really awesome. I find it endearing, and it's another unique thing. It's like, you know, he's got a thing to him that we remember, the little kick, and he's like times that out just perfect, and it's just like a low energy, you know, Catatonia isn't like a crazy energetic band, so
No,
you
no, no.
can't go up there and do a high kick like fucking David Lee Roth or something. So
Right,
he
right.
just does a little kick. Just
I definitely, yeah, I got into that. What album were you talking about that you really liked? That all their contributions were whatever? Do you know the one off the top of your head?
So starting from like whatever album has Viva Emptiness, I think, is like kind of where I really got into it, and then all the way up until maybe like the last one or two. I'm like really terrible with album names and song names,
Geez, the
and
one
I
you
kind of actually all names.
Viva Emptiness is the
Yeah.
title track of
Okay.
or is the name of the album, and that's 2003.
Yeah. So that's like that's where my favorite period starts,
That's a different
and then
band than what I listened to, though.
it's not wildly different. Actually, you go back and listen to that record.
I might. I've definitely tried to dabble, but I mean, like again, I got into Leprous like the 2017 album, and then I got in Catatonia big on Sky Void of Stars. I like listen to that entire album. Like that's a full playthrough type album, you know?
Yeah. That one is really good. Yeah, I would. Yeah, and the Great Cold Distance, another one, all the way probably through to Dead and Kings would be my favorites. I believe Viva Emptiness to Dead and Kings is kind of like and honestly like a lot of this just has to do with timing. You know, it's like that's just where I found them, where I was at the age or whatever that it like locked in with me. Like I still kind of like to some degree. I feel like I will never like music as much as I did, as much as I like the bands that I found when I was like 17 to mid 20s. I don't know if I will ever be able to like bands more than that.
Well, yeah,
Because
because you
of
started
that,
working in the industry.
well, and it wasn't even that. It was like when I was like becoming an adult to some extent and like really understanding like what I like and will probably like for the rest of my life. And those albums are just so emotional. Like to for me, like I found I'm a huge Emperor fan. So like when I heard Emperor Anthems right when it came out, like I think that was late '90s, it changed my life. So it gave me like a totally new like experience with music.
So
And then I dove into all that shit, and I don't think I will ever have like the same emotional ties to something I could hear now as a 40-something-year-old as I will to those songs that I listened to over and over and over and over again when I was like that age.
but you've heard so much at
Yeah.
this particular point, and you've heard so many things over and over and over again in your own
Yeah.
fucking rooms there. But like, yeah, at that age, you're just listening to all new stuff, and on top of that, it's a lot of new stuff,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you're hearing a lot of stuff for the first time. So I understand that in general. But
Yeah.
so how do you go from like, you know, the progressive and just more like Emperor style, you know, vibes to like having all these tech death bands like call you up for like every album they do,
Well,
or
two
death metal
things.
bands, you know?
Yeah, like honestly, like these days, sort of in an unfortunate sense, like it's like rare that I just listen to music. Like it was more common maybe 10, 15 years ago, but now it's like I don't get a lot of chance to just listen to music. And even if I do have a chance to, I kind of like don't want to because I just listen to it all day long
Right.
and my brain is exhausted. And I've like, unfortunately, I've almost lost the ability to like casually listen to music. Like I can't, like I
Are you
can't just like,
nitpicking?
yeah, I was just like my brain. It's like, oh, you're at work now. You better analyze every fucking single second of this song that you're listening to, and I just can't turn it off. So like I said, man, when I'm doing chores and shit, it's just one earbud, and it's a podcast,
Right.
like all the fucking time.
I'm like that
Driving
with,
around, it's like music is rare. It's like I put together a playlist for the fest, and for the last few days, I'm like, oh, this is sick, and it's fun because it's all
Right,
the
right,
bands
right,
I've done,
right,
you know.
right,
So
yeah.
like I've been jamming that the last few days, but it's like a couple of times a year I'll fall into a pocket where I'm actually listening to music, or I happen to find a band. I'm like, oh, this is awesome, but it's not a lot of listening to music.
a lot of my stuff is weird because I listen to this stuff all day long for the most part. Like, and it's like if a new song comes out, I'll check it out. It'll just be on while I'm working and stuff like that, or an album or whatever. But the things that I'll repeat all the time, like my Spotify Wrapped always fucking sucks because it's like some little niche shit that I like that no one in this world is going to give a fuck about. But like
Yeah.
my top were like I didn't include these in all my lists, but like the new Skrillex album was like my most played album, and I'm like, how the hell did that happen? And then then like, I'm not even a big AFI fan, but like the latest AFI album was like third on the list, and I was like, well, I did like that, but like and I didn't even like it at first. It was like what I heard the first singles, and I was like, what are they doing? Because I only knew, I only really listened to them up to like Sing the Sorrow, which is like 2002. So
I remember that record. Yeah,
all that stuff, and then like, so I get embarrassed by like, oh, all this rap is on the top of my list, but because that's what I'm listening to, and I'm driving around, not in this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
fuck it, man, just own it. And
I listen to too many other bands and songs in this world to even amass the amounts that I'm listening to these other things. Because I go on walks and I try to run every now and then. So when I'm at the gym, you would think I'm listening to like heavy, brutal, like breakdowns and fucking pumped up shit. But it's like, no, just gangster rap and like 2000s rap. That's all I'm listening to in there. Me and 50 Cent are just getting, jacked in the club.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, you got to mix it up. You live like same thing for you live in this world, so you want to like break out of it. You probably can't, like, it's different for me where I can't stop analyzing the music, but you hear a death metal band, you're like, oh, I should get these guys on that show. Do they have a story, an album coming out? Do I need to like, so it's like, it's just work related. So.
It's all, even going to shows, it's like where you nitpick mixes or like, songs and stuff like that. I'm nitpicking live shows all the time. And it's a problem because like I'll be in the crowd, whether it's like, and I DJ, and I've DJed for like 20 years. So electronic music, Skrillex obviously is in my world, is in my month to month. And I used to DJ out a lot. I used to like produce music and DJ out a lot. So like I'd be at a club or a venue or a festival, and I'm in the crowd just like, I'm enjoying it, but I'm also like, what are they playing? The light show, all this stuff. I'm like nitpicking. So that just like transcends over into bands too. So sometimes I'm just at the show like drinking a beer, just like studying everything for no reason whatsoever. You know what I mean? Just nitpick.
Yeah. Yeah, when I see bands I work with there, I can tell they're a little nervous, sometimes. And I'm like, dude, I'm not paying attention. The front of house guys too. Often I don't know them because they're not always the same people or... And that's become like my go-to spot, especially as some of the bands I work with are getting bigger. Like these shows are getting packed, and again, I'm old. I'm not like
wanting to stand in the crowd.
Front. So like I find my spot by front of house because I'll usually have been introduced to this dude. I'm like, hey, can we chill back here? And he's like, yeah, of course. And then they're always like a little nervous, and I'm like, dude, I got earplugs in, man. I can't. I'm not like it sounded fine. Like. I don't know. I can't really tell. Like, get the delay throws. That's more important to me. Like, get the vibes, and I'll be happy because I'm wearing earplugs. So
I'm not going to tweet how bad the sound is tonight. Yeah. Don't worry. But yeah, no, it's fun, and that's the other thing about like meeting bands and becoming. I don't want to say friends with bands, but just being on an acquaintance level with all these people. It's like you do sometimes have the option to like watch the band from the stage, which as a fan of all this for many years, that's cool.
It is.
But sometimes it sounds like ass up there.
Oh, yeah.
And
you can't hear anything. Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even have, they have in-ears, so you're not.
Now everyone has in-ears. Yeah. So stage sound is like all drums. And like if you're behind the amps, you can't hear shit.
Yeah. So
it sucks out there.
It's a weird vibe. So being in the crowd is also fun. But then again, like I'm 42, and I'm like, get away from me. Everyone get away from me. I don't want a mosh pit. I just want to be next to the mosh pit. But, some of the shows I go to are hardcore shows. So, like, being around the mosh pit is not ideal either because you have, a hand or a foot coming out, at you. Sometimes you got to keep your head on a swivel. But, no, it's fun. Sometimes I just want to stay side stage and just be like, all right, fuck, y'all have the fun out there, youngsters.
Yeah. I feel that.
Well, Dave, we went an hour without even really talking about your recording or engineering or production.
Fine.
That is fine. I agree.
It's fine. Yeah.
You probably talked endlessly about that enough.
Yeah, there's plenty of we pointed people to my YouTube channel where I've talked endlessly in probably the most boring ways possible about production shit. And if you're interested in that stuff, there's plenty of it out there. I've done other podcasts that dive deep. And if you want like the most information, like Nail the Mix exists, which I've done like 6 or 7 or more than that of, and literally you can pull every little trick and tidbit and thought out of my brain for an entire project. Like there's very much of that out there. So I'm like, if you want more of that, go to Nail the Mix because they got it all.
I'll put your YouTube in the in the
Cool.
links here, so
Yeah,
I'll find
it's
it.
dead. Like people, like I just like that shit just dropped off a cliff. I realized like this is so much work, and it's just too closely tied to what is like my actual work, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just making me burn out more,
Yeah.
So I kind of like, we'll see. Maybe one day I'll pull it back, but it was fun.
No,
I
yeah.
loved it while I was doing it.
The thing that I find fun about a lot of things is like when I do meet or run into people in the industry, no one. There's I shouldn't say no one, but like 3% of my day-to-day interaction with like friends and family know nothing about what I do or what I listen to or what I like as far as like this world, and they don't have any interest in it. So like when I get with people, it's like, oh, nerd out time. We'll talk about everything, and then it's just like, wow, this is the lamest conversation to the outside person. But and a lot of these podcasts end up doing that. Like, and again, we derailed the whole fucking thing by talking about YouTube, which is fine. I enjoyed that. But like, I had Shai Halud, Gert from Shai Halud on, and like, dude, I derailed it. We talked about marathon running again because we watched YouTube, and it's like, yeah, fuck me, I gotta stop.
YouTube rules,
YouTube
man. I like YouTube. Can be tricky, but you can just learn about anything you want on YouTube, man. It's fucking great. It's one of the greatest things that exists in the world today, I think. And it's like everyone it's all self-produced shit for the most part. So it's like so many cool styles, and people get to present their own thoughts and their own like skills in their own way, and it's fucking crazy, man. Some really talented people. You can just learn about whatever you want.
You can definitely get lost on there. And again, it's I think my number one way of like ingesting video content now is through YouTube. 100%. Although my girlfriend, who I live with, hates going to YouTube, so I will have to sit through a Netflix show once or twice, a week. But when she goes to bed, it's like, oh, back to YouTube. And I watch TV segments on YouTube, not on TV. Like ESPN. I'm a sports guy. I'll watch a lot of sports stuff on there.
Just pick it out. Pick what you want. Yeah, get the highlights.
Yeah, Dave, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for being on here. Congratulations on launching Flatline Fest. Again, that's Denver. Denver, Colorado, June 13th through 14th. Tickets are on sale now, which, by the way, tickets launched today, you said. And I'm fascinated by you not saying, like, and I'm glued to the sales and I want to see them tick because that's how I am.
So I can't quite because tickets are actually being handled by the venue and then their ticket partner, which is Hold My Ticket. So we're real tight. Like, again, with like talking about how this whole fest is really built around like my close circle, the venue, one of the venue owners and the venue manager is Chelsea and I's one of our good friends, Scott. He's actually going to officiate our wedding the day before. So like even the theater is like a close, important place to us. It's also our hometown. It's the one that's closest to our house. Like everything about this is like tied to us to a personal level. So he's been sending us messages. So I mean, it's crazy. I would say we had 100 early bird tickets, that were slightly discounted, and they went in the first fucking hour, which is blowing my mind. We had a guy message the Instagram saying that he's flying in from Dubai. Like, holy shit! Like it's.
So it's getting weird.
Everything about this, man, has been blowing me away and filling me with gratitude for the support. So,
well, that was awesome. June, I don't know if we'll be able to make it out there. We're doing so much in May, but if I can, I'll try to make it out there. Again, thank you for your time. Happy New Year to all the people that are listening. Sorry that my backdrop is just trash heap, and Dave's got a much nicer fucking setup and professional situation over there in the studio.
I'm a fucking YouTuber, man.
That's true. Yeah, I am too. Look at me. Look at me. The TV's not even fucking on. Who knows? I'm sitting in a broken chair. Fuck it. Big time YouTuber over here, and I run Lambgoat. So now you get to see behind the curtain of how Lambgoat really works and the sticks and string that hold it together.
Broken chairs and fucking half-working monitors.
See, check this out. I got this one right here. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah, nice.
This chair's been broken for months, dude, and I've been looking for a new one, but I've not gotten one, so fuck it. I don't, maybe I'll get one when we move into the building or something. I hope. I may not. I'm just fucking bring this thing over there and just be done with it. But all right, man, I'll cut you loose. Congratulations on the festival again. Congratulations on getting married. More power to you in the next coming months for juggling with both of those things, and more power to your fiance. And I fear for you in the near future for some of these things, but I hope you make it through.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Take it easy, brother.
Yeah, see ya.